Yes, people, big up to everyone. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite show on Fridays that we call the Stretford Chronicles. We also are doing a match reaction. This is kind of like a episode number 3 of the Stretford Chronicles alongside with a match reaction for yesterday's game. We've got some guests in the building every single time. Like I'm trying to have different guests for different shows, different episodes basically. So we got the squad in the building. We've got Spooby with us, and we've got Eddie with us as well. Big up to Eddie. Big up to Spooby. How y'all doing, man? How y'all doing?
Good, all good,
game,
all man? Good.
All good, bro.
All good, all good. Cool. Let me just fix this real quick. But yeah, big up to everyone. If you're new, of course, like I said, we discuss everything from Monday to Friday related to Manchester United. So that does include the game yesterday itself that we will get into, and that's the first topic that we're going to talk about. But also, there's been reports today that Garnacho is being inquired. Eddie, you're gonna like this one. Garnacho is being inquired by Chelsea Football Club. So we're gonna
Chelsea.
Eddie. Chelsea. Come on, man. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we have to talk about today, of course. But yes, these are the two big topics of today's video for sure. Look at this. They're already so mad. This is what I love.
This is crazy.
So mad, man. They're already so crazy. Mad. Hey, don't hate the player. Hate the game.
Hate the game.
I always say this, Warrior J. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. Look at that. Up the Chelsea. 100%, Lucian. You already know, man. You already know. But yeah, big up to the chat. Obviously, subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like on this video too. You already know this is going to be a crazy one because we're going to get everyone's thoughts on all these news. But we'll start off with the game itself because I didn't do a match reaction. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the game. Ahmad masterclass, and I'll leave it just at that. It was literally just an Ahmad masterclass. You're talking about a player who literally in the last 10 minutes took the game by the scruff of the neck and said, "Yo, pass the ball to me, and the rest is history." And that's really just what it was. Like, the second half, we were a little bit better in terms of performance because the first half was dreadful. This is kind of what you get with the lineup that Ruben Amorim picked, starting Garnacho, Højlund, Bruno in that front three. This is always something that was going to happen. You don't even have to watch the game to know that was the result. Terrible first half. Southampton looked like the much better team. Could have had like 3 or 4 goals in that first half too. Just kind of all over the place. Really all over the place. And some other players too. Like, I didn't think Man Utd had a good game. I thought he was all over the place as well, which is why he got taken off. Ugarte is another one too. Even after all the performances that he's been having for us recently, this was definitely one game where he wasn't at his normal best. You get whatever you get with the front three. Like I said, you get that with the front three. But then second half, changes, and he made some changes right away. I can't remember what was it at the 51st minute that he made. What change was it, Spoopy? Do you remember the change that he made like around the 55th minute or the 50th?
Was it? I think it was Kobe.
Yeah, okay. So it was Man Utd. So he made some changes, basically trying to switch the way that we were playing, and he brought on Xerxes, which I want to get into because what a performance from him. The moment he came on, it was a spark. The first instance he had to hold up the ball, solid. Like, he did more than Højlund did all game. More than Højlund's been doing in the past like 2 to 3 weeks. And look at all this talk about Xerxes a couple of weeks ago when he got booed in front of the crowd, all of that type of stuff, getting scapegoated and all of that. And look at his response to all that. And now we're seeing Højlund's the one who's getting booed at Old Trafford because there were loud boos for him yesterday every single time he would lose the ball. But what a performance from Xerxes. Came on, made a difference, impact. There was a couple of chances here and there that he did kind of mess up, but overall, we looked much better with him on the pitch. And then, like I said, Amad Diallo at the end just took the game by the scruff of the neck. Eriksen, that's another change that Ruben made during the game where he brought on Eriksen at the end. And then first moment of brilliance for him, that pass that he made was like Pogba-esque. Like, I remember Pogba making those type of passes. And yeah that's really it. We needed a moment of individual brilliance, and Eriksen and Amad combined for it. And the guy scored a hat trick, y'all. A hat trick before certain players at different clubs before certain players at our clubs
Name
currently
names, Sheik.
took
Name
him.
names.
I'll name names before Bukayo Saka, before Marcus Rashford, all these guys, man. The thing is, Eddie knows this because when we named the names yesterday, it was turmoil. It was absolutely crazy. They were looking for
Struck a
Eddie in the
nerve.
car
Might
park.
have struck a nerve a little bit,
Oh
but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
okay.
know.
definitely. They were looking
This
for
is
Eddie
what
in
I'm
car
here for.
parks.
Push the button.
That's what they were doing, man. They were looking for Eddie in car parks. But yeah, it was 12-minute hat trick. 12-minute hat trick from him. And really,
Crazy.
like, if you think about it, the first goal, again, him taking on his players, which we know that he has that individual quality to do that. And that's what he
Yeah.
did. Second one, just a great pass from Ericsson, and he made the run. Third one, a press. Simple as that. Just a
Simple
press
as
where he
that.
decided to
Yeah.
press the player, and he won the ball and scored a goal. So it's like, yeah, hat trick from him. But let's not obviously get way too over ourselves. The performance was bad. And it's still
Yeah.
a worrying sign that we are playing certain ways and certain players are still getting selected. Like Hoyland getting selected in this game kind of made no sense to me, especially after the performance that we saw from Xerxes at Arsenal in the FA Cup. And yeah, Garnacho too. I guess he was given a chance, but just not good enough. He had that sitter in the first half that he missed. Anthony had that sitter that he missed as well. So there were chances still in the game, but it definitely felt like it wasn't going our way. And then all of a sudden, like I said, just the game flipped. And yeah, we get the 3 points because that is the most important thing. Currently, we move from 15th to 12th place. We cut down that goal difference a little bit too, but yeah, overall, it's not good enough at all for a team like Southampton being in the position that they're in, 20th place in the league, dominating us the way that they did in that first half. And I think there's a lot to obviously learn. Ruben said things about I set up the team in terms of how Southampton play. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Southampton play a very similar system to us. They actually played 3 in the back in that game as well. And they were playing a man-to-man press all game. And I think I've talked about this before. This system can be found out with that man-to-man press if other teams do play it. However, even with that, there were still chances that we created. There were still moments that we were trying to, move the ball around, but more so, it's our front three. There were a lot of times where our defenders, our midfielders, are trying to break the lines, but Garnacho doesn't drop deep enough. Hoyland just doesn't drop at all, or if he's too far up, then he's just getting bullied by the defenders. And Bruno too, just kind of running all over the place. I like Eddie says all the time, man, running around like headless chickens for real. So that was really it. I would say like terrible performance. Don't get me wrong, but happy that we got the 3 points because again, I've been saying this performances on a consistent basis will be tough with the squad. The squad ain't that type of squad to get you consistent performances. However, you have to try to win games and you have to look to your better players to try to win you your games, and he's done that again. I did put it in the thumbnail though, is that we have to Ruben needs to really figure out a way to find goals and score goals without Amad Diallo too, because we rely on him too much. There will be a time where, and we're not going to criticize him then because of all the stuff that he's doing now, but there are times where Amad might not have the best game. And there are times where Amad might even get injured or might be a suspension or something like that. So then what is the game plan then? Because right now, all our attacks, especially in that last like 15 to 20 minutes, right-hand side. Everything is on our right-hand side. Left-hand side, even though we try to move the ball to the left too, there's always that switch on during games, but the left-hand side is what you get when you have those type of players. Diogo Dallo obviously didn't play because of the red card, but Garnacho, Bruno, whoever ends up playing on that side, limited. And we don't ever really create anything from our left-hand side. It's mainly our left-hand side. It's mainly our right-hand side that we try to create from. So we need to figure those type of things out for sure. Players got to step up. That's really it. Ahmad steps up every single game. And there are some games where he doesn't have the best of games too, but there's intent from him and he wants to win, and that's really it. I say the same thing about Collier too. He's someone who's been integrated into the squad as of late, but he's been having good performances as well for the role that he has to play. And with these guys like Hoyland and Garnacho, it's always the same thing. It's just decision making. And you can't coach decision making. That's the thing that I keep saying about those guys.
Sheik, we're trying to sell this man right now. Come on.
No, I know. I know. But hey, I'm just saying, like, it's with them. It's in our team. It's that. It's always you always see them caught in the same type of situations, and you always see the same end result.
Yeah.
So things need to change. We obviously need to figure out more in terms of the squad. And Ruben again is just currently still working with these players, trying to figure out the best squad. All of that, I get it. But yesterday's performance was nothing but just a masterclass from Amad Diallo, in my opinion. But we'll go to the rest of the panel. Eddie, we'll start off with you. You're obviously there on the watch along as well. Your thoughts on the game yesterday, man? Your thoughts on the game yesterday?
The game, there's not really much I can say on the game. I can literally only speak on Ahmad because that's the only thing we're talking about. I said it after the game itself. That's not a game that you talk about Manchester United. It's just not. That's a game where Ahmad showed you he was the best player on the pitch. That's all that game comes down to. And am I shocked by that type of performance? No, because I understand how bad these guys can look when you put them together, and I think we all do. And again, with the front three, it's simple, right? The player, my dog, shout out Don C. The player types don't fit. When you look at Garnacho, if you want to get the best out of Garnacho, don't make him the creative spark. Make him the finisher. It's real simple with Garnacho. He's a decent. I think that's the best part of his game is his finishing when it's on point. But when you put him in that winger position, especially in that system, he's looked at as a creative hub, and that's just not playing to his strength. Hoyland, same thing. Bruno, same thing. Bruno is like the midfielder that gets the assist, but he's not the midfielder that made the type of play where the assist was possible, right? If that makes sense. So you put him in the left hand, it doesn't work. Then we get to our wingbacks. Creative-wise, our wingbacks are below average. I think it was Mazraoui and
so it was Ahmad who actually played as a wingback.
And Ahmad.
Which is crazy too because he scored a hat trick.
When Ahmad's not a wingback, our wingbacks are not the most creative. But you see how he
shouldn't be a wingback. Like
yeah. You see. So you're with me too, Smoothie. It's like you see what we have to do to fit certain guys, or at least put an 11 out there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like it's not a balanced situation with our squad. So at this point, we take the 3 points. Thanks. Agendas have to agenda, so we're gonna be hell about this Ahmad hat trick. When it comes to the manager, I've already said this is a grace year for the manager.
Yeah.
Whatever happens. His selection, of course, I don't agree with. And I'm not accusing you of this, but I think others are using this selection thing as the type of tipping point for whether or not they want this manager to be here or not.
Yeah, which is crazy still.
Which is crazy. And this is my thing. All I'll say is I will allow him to build this team in his image. And after he does that, I can really get on player selection because he'll have nowhere to hide.
100%.
With these players, we've seen them under different managers do the same bull all the time. So when you put them out there, it's like, what are y'all expecting? A broke clock is right twice a day. So they're going to have moments where they all look together. And it goes to the inconsistency thing you're talking about because this is just an inconsistent team because it's not built well. They don't mesh well. They can't keep consistent patterns of play for a full 90, full 60. And to be honest, it used to be they could only play well for like 15 minutes and it goes to shit. At least now we're kind of in that average range of playing where we're not playing great, we're not playing bad enough to get packed up, but with the more clinical team, I'm with you. I think we lose that game yesterday if the team was more clinical. We have Brighton on the weekend.
I was just gonna say that too. If we play like that against Brighton, it's over for us.
Yeah, and I think again, this is one of those situations where you really get to measure the manager because it's like, okay, you saw that didn't work. What are you gonna do to address it? Again, it's not end all be all with me, but I will be watching 100%. And I will be taking notes. Yeah, I just don't. How do I say this? I just don't know how much he can do with what he has. But I know being 1-0 down to Southampton with about 80 minutes left, 20 minutes left, 10 minutes left in the game is crazy.
Yeah. 100%.
That I do know. And so just address it. He seems to be the type that fixes his problems. So we'll see what goes on. But yeah, man, I'm not even speaking about them other dudes, man. Let me just talk about Ahmad and just the journey.
Yeah.
If you've been a fan of Manchester United, you've seen this guy have to go to Sunderland. You've seen, I think he went to Rangers, right? I think he went to
He was at
Rangers on
Rangers,
loan
yep.
too.
Then he was at Sunderland.
Yeah, he's the probably the only player we can say really got it out the mud for himself in this situation. I think a lot of guys, which is the problem at United, were anointed to the roles that they got. And so for him to find himself in this position where he's getting all the adulation, it's a great thing to see. It's a great thing to see. So I hope, it continues, of course, because we want to win games. We want him to score goals, but we have to figure out ways, like you said, to manage the ship when he can't be there,
Yo, sorry to cut you guys off, but real quick, Frankfurt. So Fabrizio just dropped a tweet saying that Frankfurt, for this Omar Marmoush signing, are currently in talks with another club too. So that deal's not done yet, apparently.
Oh shit!
And they're talking to a different club. I wonder who this club is. But yeah, they just came out saying that the oh wait, never mind. I'm sorry. It was the same deal.
Same deal. Okay.
It was the same deal. Yeah. It just, when it popped up, it just said that, and I was like, okay, cool. Anyways, back to it. Yeah. Yesterday's game. A couple of things we do need to obviously talk about, because one is Lenny Euro. We have to discuss his performance yesterday. Let me say this though. I get it. Fans, rival fans especially. I saw what Mons was saying today about Lenny Euro and all that type of stuff. I'm back again. I get it. It's rival fans. You're waiting for a moment for this guy to mess up. This is just the magnitude of the club that we are, and the rival fans, like, these conversations take place. However, don't forget these performances that he had before this game. And I'm not justifying it, saying that like this is okay for him to do. This was always going to happen, to be honest. He's a young player who's just come into a very, very big team. And it's kind of like we said it on the watch along yesterday, Eddie. It's your welcome to the Premier League moment. And everyone gets it. It's like everyone gets that type of moment. However, it's not saying that he doesn't need to improve or whatever. He definitely needs to look back at that game, because there were instances where he was just getting ripped apart. Like every time it was Suleimana, I think was the guy's name.
Suleimana needs to be locked up for what he did to Euro.
Yes, bro. Like every time
he had him on his knees, begging for mercy. Okay, I'm telling you, bro.
Relax.
I love Euro. I love okay. Pause. But I love Euro. I love Euro.
He was begging for mercy. He was definitely begging for mercy.
Let's just say that.
Let's just
say that. But yeah, the thing that I was gonna get to with Lenny Euros is like, it's cool. I'm actually glad that he had a performance like this, because this is now a learning curve for you. This is now a learning experience for you to be better. And like I said, this was always going to happen sooner or later. If this didn't happen against Southampton, this could have happened against a Brighton, could have happened against different teams that set up a certain way. But I'm not too fussed about it. Like, I'm not like, oh, Euros concerning this and that. Like, is he going to be a good signing? No. I've seen enough from the kid in the past couple of weeks to know that he will be fine. He will be absolutely fine. He's gone to Anfield. He's gone to the Emirates. What did he play at Manchester City? I don't know. Maybe he did. And look how we performed in those games. So again, it's like I'm not really too concerned about all that. This was his first home Premier League start as well. So the pressure and that type of stuff is there. I get it, but yeah, I'm not justifying his performance because it was bad for sure. He was our worst center back. But then Ruben Amorim made the change. He took him off for Harry Maguire, and then Harry Maguire.
Suleimana is rapid as well, by the way.
He was.
Thank fuck he can't finish, because
that was the problem with Southampton yesterday, is that they just can't finish. And Flawless kept saying this too, is that there's a reason why they are in the 20th place, because they're just not clinical enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the amount of chances that they got yesterday, they're just not clinical enough. That double save from Onana, I really, really thought that was a goal. That was going to be a goal. Because the second chance that player had was just straight at him. And I think he was just like a couple yards out from goal. So, yeah, shocking that they couldn't score that. But, again, for Euro, like I hear Lucien says, I feel sorry for Euro. I can't lie. I hear that. It's like, but it's just part of the big leagues.
Good thing.
This is what happens when you're in the big lights, like the the stadium lights at night and stuff, and the big leagues. This is really just what it
Mhm.
is, and you got to be tough for it. And yeah, let's see how he responds to this. Let's see how he comes back from performance like this. And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. But in terms of Euro, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it, to be honest. But Spoobs, we'll go to you. Your thoughts on the game, Southampton game.
Yeah, 3-1. Listen, if you didn't watch the game, the scoreline does not tell you what
Just
happened
watch
in
the
that
last
game.
10 minutes. Just watch the last.
Yeah.
10
Listen, at times Southampton were like fucking playing us out of the fucking park. They were. Like, let's just be honest. Why are we so easy to be got at? Why we can't dictate our style of play on teams. We just can't do it. We go against big teams like City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and we can step back and we stay structurally strong. But when it comes to the lower league teams, where we have to come out and kind of dictate, you have to impose yourself on teams like that, and we just can't do it. We can't. Listen, our players aren't good enough. We all know that. We know that. Amad Diallo. Listen, I was saying from a guy that couldn't get a start last season, and now he is. Look where he is now. I kind of I feel bad because what age is Diallo? Eddie, do you know? Is he 21?
22 years
22?
old. Yeah.
To kind of thrust him into that, we're thrusting players into trying to be like, listen, Garnacho is limited, okay? He's limited as anything, okay? But we can't be thrusting players like this into positions where we have to play them in and out. We need better players, attacking for sure.
Definitely.
And listen, Ericsson, you mentioned it, Sheik, with the pass. No one is when people. I was doing the Ericsson is too old kind of gimmick, right? No one's arguing about Ericsson's creativity.
Yeah.
No one is.
Forget age and all that stuff, bro.
Yeah.
That's experience and skill. Ericsson is the player that he was in his career because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And clearly that stuff's still there. But obviously the whole legs thing is different because we require more from him in this system. And this system is that type of system as well. That's where the argument of whether he has the legs to do it or not comes into play. But bar that, that's just pure quality, top quality, top quality pass, bro. Like I remember Pogba making that pass for a France game to like Griezmann or something, and yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's just top
which I'm not arguing that Ericsson doesn't have. Ericsson has that for a fact, but I just think in this midfield, in the way Amram wants to play, you need to have. He obviously likes Ugarte. Okay, why does he like Ugarte? Because he just runs everywhere and tries to get the ball. I mean, what does Ugarte have in his locker? It's running and intercepting the ball, and winning it back, and passing it, a simple pass out to someone that can do something with the ball. But I liked Xerxes coming on. I thought Xerxes played very well. One of his better games. Just basics, holding up the ball, getting other players involved, holding up the ball, letting other players make runs, and getting it out to them. I know it. Like I'm pretty much giving praise to a striker for holding up the ball. It's very basic stuff, but United are lacking the basics right now up front. And yeah,
it's like about the Xerxes thing though. It's like it's clear as day. Every single thing that Højlund was trying to do in that game, Xerxes did it when he came on, and he was the difference. Why do you think that we actually created a lot of chances in that second half? It's really because of him. Because when we were trying to play the ball out in the first half, there's so many instances that I just literally remember it. Højlund making the wrong runs, can't hold up. Like his first touch when he receives the ball just isn't good enough, and he's all over the place. And that was really it. Like I was really annoyed at times with Mainu too, because Mainu in that first half was just not showing for the ball, just kind of running around. And that's what I felt like was the difference in that second half. I keep emphasizing this. It's like the system is very, very possession based. So you have to be good on the ball. And you have to obviously know when you're receiving the ball, what are your options around you. There's often times though that they don't have options because Garnacho's running around, Bruno's out of position somewhere else, Højlund's doing whatever Højlund always does, wrestling somebody. And then that just limits options. That's really, really why we were playing a lot of sideways passes yesterday in that first half. Whereas in the second half, when we brought on Xerxes, there were a lot of passes that were going straight to him. And he was getting past players. Like there was this one spin that he made where he kind of cut the ball back and he got past a player, and I think he got fouled. And then there were other instances too where he was able to beat that first press from that defender. And that's really it. Look how just that simple thing amplifies our attack even more, because then that gives the wingbacks options to run. They're always just running at it. There was that one chance that Xerxes had where I thought he should have passed, but he kept the ball and he tried to shoot it and it got blocked. But stuff like that. We were in a lot of those positions in that second half because of him. Now, Eddie did mention this yesterday, which I thought was a very, very good point. Do we think Ruben's using Xerxes as a sub to change games, or is he just this type of player that can't start? He doesn't trust Xerxes for a full 60 to 70 minutes. He'd rather have him off the bench type of player to change a game. Is that a type of conversation that we're dwelling into? My thoughts on it is start him, bro. Just start him. It's as simple as that. Give him a run of games. Because if you're seeing this in substitutions and off the bench and all of that, I get it. But give him a run of games and see how that turns out. Because I think it was after Everton, we didn't really see him start, to be honest. And Everton game, he started. And he scored 2 goals in that game, and he was involved as well. So it's again, use it. Because clearly you're trying Højlund again and again, and you end up taking him off, and you bring on Xerxes, and we win games. So it's or we get a better result than what we were at with Højlund. That's where I'm kind of at it, is that I that's a very good point, though, to be honest, because maybe he could be thinking about it that way. But right now, bro, just put him out there and try to win the game in that first half. Try to make it comfortable so then you can rest your players. Try to score goals in that first half, let's say 2 or 3-0. We go a little bit defensive, and we're already good defensively. Then you can rest the likes of Ahmad. You can get other players on. And that just helps us out in the long run with our squad too. So that's why I'm just kind of start him. Give him a run of games. He's clearly the better player. Clearly. There's no argument that he's clearly the better player. So
can I just address that as well? Saying Spibby saying Garnacho is limited. Listen, like Eddie said earlier, if you're relying on Garnacho to be a creative player, you're in trouble. Okay, he's not a creative player. He runs at defenses. He gets into the final third. And listen, if any Chelsea fans are watching, he's amazing at final third decision making. Okay, but if you're a United fan watching, in the final third, 7 or 8 times out of 10, he's making the wrong decisions in the final third.
YG, if you want the link, let me know. I'll send you the link.
Because you know what the most frustrating part about him is? Like you said, that 7 out of 8, but that 8th one that he makes it work, it's bro, you couldn't do that shit the first 7 times.
Yeah.
You know, that pass that he made to Anthony after the game that he had, it lets you know his mentality. He's still going to attack by any means. He's still going to put himself in positions to have an influence on the game. He's not hiding, right? And he strikes me as a player where he needs a very rigid system and he can't be left to his own devices. You can't be telling him, go out on the wing and try and do something.
Do your thing. He's not a do your
be
thing player.
Once you see that pass is being played, make that run. When you see him receive the ball in that position, put yourself in this position, right? We've had, again, this Garnacho thing wasn't always bad. Right, because when he started out as a super sub, and I think that was Ten Hag's first season where he really came on. And I think
he was impactful too. He was
impactful,
to be honest.
Right?
Yeah, he was.
And I think the thing that happens is that I'm always scared of when it comes to young talent being in bad situations. It's the bad habits you pick up because you're playing bad football, right? And so again, he can be a very useful player because of his mentality. Again, I always love people that are egotistical in sports. Because when the whole world tells you you ain't shit but you believe that you're the shit, nothing else matters. Yeah. You can't knock him off his block. So again, I think, it's just one of those situations where you see Xerxes coming on, changing the game, and it's strictly because, in my opinion, his profile is different to the other people in that three that he's playing with.
That's what it is. It's the profile. I was just gonna add to that. Garnacho,
Yeah.
think about it. He's a winger. He's not an inside 10. He's not a 10.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's purely a winger, and that's why you see him struggle so much. Is because a lot of the times he has to play central, and that's just what this profile and this position requires. Is that you have to invert. You're not an out and out winger. You're more of an inside 10. So it's like that's where we see him struggle. And the great point that you mentioned, like off the bench and stuff like that. Energy. He does have that type of energy. Like he adds extra legs, extra pace, extra energy towards the end of the game when we do bring him on as a sub. Same thing for, I think, Liverpool. We brought him on as a sub against Liverpool, right? And then he ended up getting an assist.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Got an assist against Arsenal as well. Kind of like that winger thing too. Look at the way that he got that assist as well. On that right-hand side, it was a Gabriel mistake, but he picked up the ball and just drove it. And that's really it. And then he just played it through the middle and Bruno scores. So again, it's more so, I think the reason really why he's struggling is because he's a winger. He's an out-and-out winger, and this system requires and he just doesn't have it to his game. Like, he's not good on the ball. We know that he's not good on the ball. When you try to give him, when you play that first time pass to him, he's going to struggle. He might not get his touch right, or he might be able to get his touch, but you oftentimes see him going left or right. His head's all like he's always looking at the ball, doesn't really look up. Winger traits. These are all just winger traits. So yeah, it's like that's the issue with him. But then again, why are we continuing to play him? If I can sit here and I can say that he's a winger, and it's not working out in the past couple of games, and don't start him. I'm not saying don't play him. Don't start him. Don't bring him on as that.
Who do you play though? Who do you
utilize
play?
him?
That's the thing.
I played Manu up in that 10.
But this manager has shown that he doesn't. I don't think. Well, it's weird to say you don't trust the player, but you play him in midfield. But I think if I had to kind of brainstorm as to why he hasn't tried Manu at the 10 spot.
What are you thinking, like physicality or something?
I think it's just the technical security Manu provides.
That's what
is way greater than any other midfielder that we have. So it's kind of like I have to put him in that position,
right,
for us to look somewhat coherent. But then I'm looking at like our team, and it's like, well, like I talked about with Xerxes, and even I know for damn sure it's the situation with Eriksen. He doesn't feel like with the intensity he demands and the mobility he demands that Eriksen can give him 60 minutes, right? But to his credit, he has put Eriksen on in moments, and he's shown his quality. I think this is like the second time Eriksen's come on and goals have been scored while he's been on the pitch. So yeah, I think for me, when it comes to the Xerxes situation, the only thing that I could think is that you know what, Don C, honestly, I don't think he's an impact player. I think he is a player you start because I think he's definitely a player you start against the Southampton because they're gonna allow you to have the ball. And that was the biggest change when he came on. We could actually play through the middle of the pitch. Like with Højlund, we couldn't do that shit because Højlund couldn't receive the ball. Right. And so a lot of what we were talking about yesterday with those guys is they don't trust the pass.
Yeah. Exactly.
And especially when you're getting man pressed, the only thing that beats a man press is the ball and movement.
100%.
Right? 100%. And so they had to put him on to get there, and that it made the most sense because, again, you're talking about a guy who on a technical level is probably the most technically gifted at our team in Xerxes. Like, of course, Eriksen is there, but everybody else, no, man, we're not even in the same ballpark. So yeah, it's an interesting situation he finds himself in because, again, like, I'm with you. I would just play the kid and see what he can do, right? But I think his mobility is the one thing that has Amram like, because even I saw it. Yes, I think we all saw it, right? He doesn't have that separation speed, but he's strong as hell with the ball at feet, so he can get where he wants to go no matter the situation. It's just once he gets past the player, it doesn't take that defender too much time to get back to him.
Yeah.
You know,
right?
So
100%. Chat's mentioning Toby Collier, of course. Another midfielder who that we've recently been seen given a chance by Ruben Amorim. So I see it with that aspect too. Now, if we end up playing Collier a lot more, and let's say if he ends up warranting a start, I would put him alongside Agarte, of course. So then that brings up the option of putting up Manu up front and trying him out there in that 10. So there are still different options. I do agree with the fact that, like you mentioned, he plays him with Agarte. YG mentioned it earlier as well. I think it provides a balance for sure. Like he wants one player in that pivot who's basically gonna provide that energy, try to win the ball for the first time, and just be running around, play that destroyer type of role. But then he also wants to put someone next to him who's technically sound on the ball, to be able to find out a pass, to break the lines, all of those type, who can also just receive it and beat a press. And that's something that
Manu, for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, that's something that, to be honest, Manu can do. However, another aspect to his game is him in the final third and him in the box. That's also something that we've seen from the passes that he's shown quality at. So again, it's just more of a question of do you put him in that 10, but then risk the idea of having a midfielder that could complement Ugarte, or we find out that Collier can become that midfielder, or do you continue to play Manu to complement Ugarte, but then we still have those type of problems up front? That's something that he's going to have to figure out, and that's also the adaptation that we've been asking him to do. These are the different things that you can adapt to. Speaking of adaptation, Time to Shine mentioned this. Towards the end of the game yesterday, we actually switched to a back four. It's the first time that we've seen under Ruben Amorim that we actually switched to a back four. And I think that was because of the changes that he made as well. And it also could be because he was going for it. Maybe because all the changes that he brought on looked like he was going to go for it. And that's ended up that's like what ended up happening. But interesting to see that he actually switched to a back four towards the end of the game. And I don't think it's something like, oh, he changed his system or any of those type of things. I think it's just more so like game plan in that moment. And just because of all the players that he had, he decided to do that. We saw that against Arsenal where he was playing Martinez as a striker for the last like 10 minutes or so. So yeah. YG says not every game you can play a back three, which oh yeah, like you like, yeah, true. 100%. You need experience in Prem football. Can't just fill the lineup with kids. We ain't Chelsea 100%. I like Collier. He seems really comfy on the ball. These positioning of players is horrific for me. The problem is the wing back to deep push up. Both wing back. That's the problem with having wing backs. Yeah, bro, 100%. There's definitely like it's a system that you can clearly still tell that they're still getting used to it, like the players. And when I say that, it's really a couple of them, but that couple of players and those performances affect the overall team so much. And I brought that with the Rashford point on Flawless's show. One of the reasons why Rashford is not being selected is because of how he affects the rest of the team. Again, the press that we require, the press that we play sometimes, or a high press that we play sometimes, requires all players to push up for the ball. And we always talk about how Rashford is jogging. He's barely trying to win the ball. Like there's clips of him where the player has the ball and he's just kind of running around him and stuff like that. So I think he's looking at all those type of things and he finds that just that behavior from one player is very, very detrimental to the system and the team itself. And that's why he's not playing them. However, there's still more players who are doing the same thing and he keeps continuing to select them. But I think it's also more of an issue that this is just what he has and this is just what he has to work with. And he's just trying to find different ways to set up against different teams. Because one thing that he has said is that the lineup with yesterday was specifically for Southampton and it was specifically for the way that Southampton set up. I was thinking in that game that, okay, maybe he's going with this lineup because he wants to rest his better players for Brighton. Maybe he wants to do that. But then again, it was more so, I don't think that was the case, to be honest, because he ended up actually bringing everybody on. Ahmad still started, even though he started in a wing back. But then Ahmad being in a wing back after we've seen him play as a 10 in the past couple of games also could suggest that maybe it was based on Southampton. But then this is Southampton, 20th place Southampton, and who barely been scoring goals like that too. I think that was like their there was a stat that I saw yesterday that I can't really remember, but yeah, it's we've seen a lot of times that he's setting up teams based off of the opponent. So maybe it could be that why we see all these different lineups all the time. But for me, it's clear. Like I've always been saying this too. Just start your better players and see what you can do with that. Give them a run of
Do you ever
games.
feel like he's just trying to figure it out with players?
Yeah,
I
but
sometimes I get the feeling that he's just trying to figure it out. I just know what players he can rely on and what players he can't.
see,
He'll
but then
start.
it's like I say yes or no to that because then you continue. One thing is that there's nothing you need to figure out anymore about Garnacho and Hoyland playing in that front three. There's nothing you need to figure out. You've tried them ample times and you've seen the same results from them. Yet you still try to pick them. So it's like in those situations, like I would say, why do you? That's why I keep criticizing him when I see lineups. Is why are you continuing to play them? And then I saw yesterday, like I think in the 20th or 25th minute, he went back to his seat and just sat there and was just looking at the ground. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to look at that and be like, oh, I feel bad for Amram. You selected this. You put out this team and you put out that front three. And then you can't sit there and be like, oh, I'm so sick and tired of this front three because you're the one who selected them in the first place. So, and then again, it's like, at what time will you realize that these guys just ain't good enough? And then try something different because you tried Xerxes. We ended up winning a game 4-0. Never won that with Ten Hag, by the way. And then after that, we just never really saw him. We never really saw him start. And the same thing with yesterday. We had these two results where we had Mazraoui playing as a wingback. We had De Ligt, Maguire, Euro playing, or Martinez playing. And then Ahmad was playing up front. And then all of a sudden we changed it. And then we see that drastic change of that performance, even against a team like Southampton. As comparing it to Arsenal, comparing it to Liverpool, even though like Liverpool we only drew 2-2 and Arsenal we won on pens, the performances were far better though. Like Arsenal, we didn't really give them a chance up until the 60th minute when we got a red card. And we took the lead against them as well. And it was pretty much the same type of game plan too. Like we were just utilizing the better players in the better positions and scoring from there. It was a mistake from Gabriel. Yes, I get it. But they didn't do anything in that game up until then. And then all of a sudden, that's why I was like, I don't know why he changed it. And we saw the result of him changing it. We got dominated in the first half by Southampton. So these are other things that he also has to look to, is when to change things. And also if he needs to really change it. I didn't think he needed to change it. If his whole idea was again benching players for Brighton, I get that. But then you didn't really need to change it with Southampton. What were they really going to do? But he told us it was based off of their system. So cool. That's my manager. Like Flawless always says too, like that's the manager. I'm going to hear him right now. And I'm not really going to like criticize him like that this season, more so next season if there's opportunities. But cool. Ended up getting a result at the end of the day. Got the win, which is the most important thing. But there's definitely still a lot of question marks with the squad. Lots and lots of question marks with the squad. We'll move to the next topic because I said that. Signings. I've been saying this. We get a left-sided player, be it a wing back, be it a 10, and I think it improves us a lot. A lot. Because everything, like I said, originally goes through our right-hand side. The fact that our left-hand side is so non-existent. I haven't seen a United team in so long where our right-hand side is more dominant than our left-hand side. It's been a long minute since I've seen a right-hand side be better than a left-hand side. We've always had like the likes of Rashford. We've always had left wingers basically. And we haven't really prioritized the right-hand side. Now we have a good right-hand side player and we have a good right wing back as well. Put that same energy into that left-hand side. If I'm talking to Ruben, just think of if you actually, or I'm talking to Ineos, just think of if you actually invest in that left-hand side, how much better our attacks could be. Maybe we won't be cussing out Hoyland all the time for messing up the ball because he might not even get the ball as much because we're moving everything from the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So it's just stuff like that. But going into the question, Garnacho is obviously being linked to Napoli and to Chelsea Football Club. The big thing that I heard yesterday, and I got into a couple of conversations with certain people, is that some people think that we can get more money for Garnacho. Some people think that he's going to be this world player who could eventually get a move to Real Madrid or the big clubs in a couple of years. And we'll miss out on a big, hefty transfer fee if we sell him right now. So, Eddie, we'll go to you. I know your answer already. What are your thoughts on that? Are you more at a stage where it's just time to get rid of these players, and you're not caring about how much money we can make and how much profit we can make? or you're thinking about, okay, maybe we should try to get some more money so that we can try to reinvest in January right now. We can use that money right now to
Yeah.
win. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when it comes to the Garnacho sale, get as much money as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's always it's always a tricky thing for me when I hear people, talk about these players are Real Madrid-esque and all this, all that. Listen, we don't know. We're not here for that. What we are here for is good business. And it's always going to be the aim for me when it comes to sport businesses to maximize your return. So get as much as you possibly can and then let him go. And with Garnacho, like I said, I think honestly, a Conte, going from Cravascelli to Garnacho is it's a
an upgrade.
It is. I'll give that one to you, boss. It's interesting because because of their archetype, right? Like,
right.
And like for instance, right? This is how crazy my mind works. When it comes to a player like Salah,
right,
you'll never tell me that Salah plays the game of football better than Crava, but he's more effective than Crava is at this time, right? Because he score goals, he get assists. I'm not saying Garnacho's kind of in that ilk for me, where if system-wise, it aligns for him perfectly. Because a big part of what Napoli do, I'm guessing, is they're going to be on the counter. A lot of Italian football is not expansive. I think there's only a couple teams that play what we want to call expansive football in that league. So the transition, it will be seamless, I think. Now, I don't think, we're talking team of the season, but I do think he'll be effective. And if I was him, I would want to go there before I'd want to go to Chelsea, that's for sure, because at Chelsea, he'll drown. And there's too many bodies, right? And I think
they already have so many wingers, bro.
They already have so many, and they barely like any of them.
Yeah.
So you just be another one that they love to hate. So yeah, I think
that's facts.
I think they said they wanted 70. That's crazy. they wanted 70. I think United said, bro, if they come through with 50, take it. And again.
Whoa.
Ahmad wants Arsenal. He's already signed up. Shout out my guy Organ Good.
Yeah, man. He already signed the contract.
He's already signed the contract, man. We ain't having
thing. Yeah, he's locked.
But hey, Arsenal, we do have a winger. I heard you're interested.
We have a couple.
We do have a winger.
We have this one too.
Right here. Right here. You've seen that before.
Nacho as well. So
but yeah, just to finish up, do the business, get a 10 that fits. And I'm of the mindset that Garnacho's not the only one that needs to leave, of course.
Of course.
Literally, when I say I want an entire clear out of people who have been here that have gradually lost my trust over time, it doesn't start with him. So Rashford, honestly, would be top of the list before Garnacho. But it's just his contract makes that tough to
a little difficult. Yeah, a little difficult.
Just purely off of what I can get for him, Eriksen would be ahead on that list.
Okay.
The fact that he's not playing Casemiro will be ahead of that list.
Casemiro's definitely leaving. I have a feeling that he's definitely leaving. The way that he's not playing at all, he's definitely leaving.
Like sure. Garnacho's young, so you have time to strike better deals for him, right? With the other two, your Eriksens, the other three, your Eriksens, your Rashfords, your Casemiros, the clock is ticking. Especially on somebody like Eriksen, who I think his contract is up.
Yeah.
If we can get him out of there now, get something for him, turn him into something, that's what we need to do. But yeah, with the sales, I hope that we bring in at the bare minimum one player who fits what we need. Hopefully
definitely.
2.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, they're the people. This is not.
Yeah.
We're not gonna make this a Garnacho hate along and all that. I'm just saying.
Nah, I hear you.
He just happened to be at the front of the list this time around. So yeah.
Yeah, Michelle says Anthony Lindelof, Onana, Eriksson need to go. We need Cass for experience. I hear that.
But the thing with Cass for experience is, what good is experience if it's not being applied?
Really.
Like the manager doesn't want to play him. Yeah. That's it. Like, I hear you, but I would have been playing him. Yeah. I think we've all at one point in time thought about the whole Ugarte Casemiro thing, right? But the manager has different ideas.
Which I'm cool with, though. That, to be honest, if he finds that he's just not fit for this team, it's fine.
But wait, what
then that pushes us to go out and get more. Say that one more time.
What is what is Amarim saying by not starting Cass? He wants one DM to be the Ugarte. I'm gonna go around and run around.
I think he's basically putting Ugarte over Casemiro. I think. I don't think he would play both of them. He would play one of them. That's what I think. And then at this moment,
so he's saying Casemiro is not good enough to run around and get the ball.
Maybe.
No. I think he's like, I already have Ugarte to do that.
Yeah.
I need somebody who on the ball I can really trust. And I think when you put Manu and Casemiro, I think he just trusts Manu more. And that's not to say that Cass isn't a great passer, because we've seen Cass make some great passes.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you, like, not in the manager's eyes, you know?
Right.
That's what we're at, I think. Because, again, what sense does it make just not playing him at all? Like, not getting him any kind of time at all. I think we've seen Bruno, Manu, sixes, like 6 situations. Like, we've seen almost everybody but him. Now the kid is getting a chance.
Yeah, Collier's getting a chance.
Before he brings on Casemiro, so what he just doesn't. What
I don't. It's a mystery.
Like it's clear
it really is. It's a mystery.
Yeah, it seems definitely clear that he's just not. He don't fuck with him. As simple as that. And he don't trust him enough to play him week in, week out. So I'm like, it's cool. Like, if at the end of the day that tells me, all right, we need to go get another midfielder now. So go get another midfielder if we're not going to play Casemiro. So simple as that. What was I going to say? We'll go to you, Spoobs. Your thoughts about the whole Garnacho thing. And the reason why I'm saying that is because me currently, right now, it's a question of, do we sell him right now for the 40-50 million, or do we keep him until the end of the season where there's potential for his price tag to go even more, where it could be a 70 million in the summer, or it could be like a 60 million in the summer? What are your thoughts on that? My thoughts on it is that, obviously, I'll say take whatever offer you get for this guy and use that money right now to reinvest. Like, if you're going to sell Garnacho, then buy another player too. Like, you have to do both of those things hand to hand. I don't want it to be where you sell Garnacho right now and then we just don't do anything for the rest of the January transfer window. Because if we're thinking about it, today's the 17th. We're halfway through this month. So we only really have 2 weeks left until this transfer window closes. And we haven't really heard of anything. There's a short list of left wing backs that we've created. We had small links with Kolo Muani, but he's already gone to Juventus now. So what is it that we're actually doing? Are we trying to get a player in? Are we just looking to sell off players? Like, what's basically going on? I'm more so like, if we're going to sell Garnacho, if you're like, okay, we're looking to listen to offers, then we have to use that money to reinvest in this same January transfer window, because then that could also potentially turn our season around or lead to better performances, better results for the rest of the season. We still have a very long season ahead. We're still competing in the FA Cup. We have Leicester at home next, which I expect us to win. So we're going to advance on to the latter stages of that tournament. We're still in the Europa League technically as well, which is tough. We already know how competitive that league can be, that tournament can be. And look at how our performances are going into like these type of tournaments as well. We can't go with these type of performances that we had yesterday into a Europa League game, especially somewhere away in Europe. We'll get ripped apart, and that's why I think we need reinforcements. And just like Eddie said, 1 or 2 can make a big impact on this team. Big impact. So my question to you, Swoobs, is what would you do in this situation? Do you sell him now and try to buy a player now, or do you wait until the summer to see maybe if his valuation goes up and then cash on him then, and then we get obviously a good couple of signings or one big signing in summer, what would you do? What would you say?
So, your original question, it was kind of aimed at me, with the people that are like,
No, it wasn't aimed at you. It was just
a wee bit. It was a wee bit. It was a wee
aimed
bit.
at both of
Yeah,
you
it was,
guys.
because you're saying like, oh, are you the finance? The person that's looking after United's like finance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm tired of us being terrible at selling players. We are awful at it as a club. Okay, we sell players for way less money than they're
Big up
worth.
Don C. Take care, bro.
But I get your argument. Is it the time and place to be picky and choosy about what we get for players? Maybe you get an extra 10 or 15 million for Garnacho. Bro, I think you have to put your foot in this foot in the sand, and you have to you have to get the money that players are worth. I'm tired of look at the way Chelsea sell. Okay, I hate Chelsea, but look at the way they sell. Incredible seller of players.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'd think there's some shady business going on the way they sell players. But I would. I think it was 40 million when we talked.
Yeah, 40 million. I've heard 40, 50, like both. Yeah.
40, 50. 50 I would be happy with. Listen,
So I think Napoli have said that they want to pay around 40 million, but then United have rejected it and say they want a little bit more, like around 50, the 50 mark or whatever.
yeah, they'll probably meet halfway, hopefully.
And by the way, I think personal terms are agreed. Like I think they've talked to Garnacho already, and he favors a move. So it's like it's just left to negotiations between the club, between Ineos, and that's why the problem is what do Ineos value him as? I'm guessing Ineos think that they can get more money from him, which is why they keep asking Napoli for more. But then this is why I'm asking that question: is what do we do now? What looking at the situation that we're in, we're kind of like at this situation where we need to fix up things right now, for sure. Like in order to improve results, we can't continue to have these type of performances where it's just not consistent. So we need to improve for sure. So again, it's more so: do we invest right now? Use this money to invest right now, or do we wait until the summer to?
Me personally, I would sell. I'm not.
I would sell.
I'm not here to see if Garnacho gets better. I want proven players right now. Listen, people know me as the Garnacho defender. Okay, maybe I'll pass it on to CP, my brother, the Chelsea fan. Okay, maybe he'll become the next, Garnacho lawyer. Hey, CP, it's long. CP being Garnacho's defense lawyer. Okay, it's long hours. Okay, long hours. There's a lot of cases. There's too many cases to count. Okay, and everyone hates you for doing it. So, good luck, CP. But no, apart like actually thinking about United, I would sell him. Of course, yeah, I'd sell him. 100%.
Fairs. Casper asks a really good question. If you could bring in a 10 or a wing back, what would you bring in to all of us?
As in player?
Yeah.
I would probably go. Because of the need we have, I would go left 10. Because we just only have one player, Ahmad, who fits that profile.
Right.
And I think we can get away with defensive-minded wingbacks if you have 2 10s and a striker who understand what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
A left 10, in my opinion, is the most important.
I think a left 10 is the most important, for sure, 100%. Because, it's more so, again, the left-hand side is terrible. Like, Diogo Dalot, maybe getting a left 10 could also limit Diogo Dalot in the final third. Like, we might not have to rely on him in the final third a lot, which could, again, just be like that left 10 is getting the ball more. And, again, I see it more of like, I can see how it could make players around him, like around that specific player, better too. Because we've seen that with whenever Ahmad plays up front. He, at times, does make Højlund look better with just his link-up play with him. At times, he also makes the players around him look better, like whoever's playing in the pivot or the wing back along on that right-hand side as well. I see it as that. And it's like, that's why I think that left 10 is the most super important thing currently. However, I wouldn't be too pissed with the wing back situation as well. If I could say that, if this makes sense, go out and try to get a player of a profile like Ahmad, because he's actually someone who plays in both. He plays as that inside 10, and he also plays as a wing back. So we could end up getting a player like him, which we could utilize in both roles if need be. Like we could play a Bruno on that side, on that left 10, and then have that specific player play as a wing back, or we can play somebody else as a wing back like Diogo Dallo, and then have that guy play as a left 10. So I'm thinking of in just those options, but overall I would say left hand side 100%. Be it a left wing back, be it a 10. I think this January transfer window, it has to be that left hand side. And in the summer, we go and we address all the other positions that we need to address. But that would be my answer to it. Michelle asked, would you take Brian Mbeumo? I think all of us would take Brian Mbeumo.
Yep.
But we already have a right winger.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's a good player, but it's like the fit is everything. Like we're at a point now where we have to hit on fit and talent,
right?
Because we don't necessarily have a surplus of either of them. Like we don't have a whole bunch of players who are talented enough for this system. We don't have a whole bunch of players who fit in this system. So we need to ensure that we got players who at least do one at a very high level. And
100%.
He's a right winger, and he's not a striker. He's a right winger. That's where you get the best out of him. So that's what makes it tough.
Right, 100%. Spoops, you take Brian Mbeumo?
I'd 100%, yeah. It's just a definite yeah. Listen, I know he's a right winger. I get that. But look, I'm just desperate for attackers. I'll take anyone.
I hear you. No, I hear you. I hear you.
I was gonna say, man, hey, Mbeumo can hit the bench for Ahmad. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm just kidding though. But yeah, I would take him. It's a no-brainer, 100%, no-brainer for sure. Let's see some other comments. Dallas says Mbeumo wants North London. You're right. He does want Tottenham. That's fair. Let's see. If I'm old Jimmy Ratface, I would keep Garnacho. Yeah, you lost me there, Dal. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna read the rest of it because the moment you said I would keep Garnacho, you lost me there.
This guy's diabolical.
This guy's trying to.
Yeah, he says I would keep Garnacho, loan out Xerxes, and buy Gyökeres immediately, whatever the cost. I agree with the Gyökeres immediately. The rest I don't. That's what I would say. But yeah, I think a striker, maybe they're looking to it in the summer. Maybe they're identifying like instead of trying to get like a Weghorst type of deal where we can loan in a striker, I think they're trying to identify like a top signing that we could get in the summer. But we'll see. We don't know. We still don't trust Ineos, so that's always a thing. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do. But clock's ticking, man. It's January 17th. Get some moves in. Because I would be really pissed to continue with the squad for the rest of the season. We have to at least get one. There's no way there's no loan deals out there that we could just explore.
Especially if you're not playing Rashford at all, you have to get.
If you're not going to play Rashford at all, then yeah. And if you're not even going to play Casemiro at this point, then cool, get another player. Like we already have a thin squad as it is, and then on top of that, we're dropping players from that thin squad already. So it's like we need reinforcements. We definitely need reinforcements. Good question here. Are Ineos turning United to a selling club? Selling clubs don't win anything. Look at Brighton and Southampton. What do you guys think?
I don't think that it says selling club. I just think Amarim's trying to get players out to fit a system and then obviously bring players in. It's not a selling club thing.
Yeah,
it's just...
I think one approach definitely is that they have been doing deals differently from our previous regime. I know it still is the same regime, but the Glazers are the ones who definitely paid the insane amount of money for Hoyland, Anthony, the way that we would sell players to, same type of business. Like I feel like that is slightly changing. Like Ineos are definitely exploring options of how much value can we get. Like this whole Garnacho, for example, they're a little bit reluctant on it because they think that they can get more money, more value off of a player like that. I think that's how things have changed, to kind of answer your question, if that does make sense. Is I don't necessarily think that they're turning into a selling club, because if we think about it, they really haven't sold anyone like that. Who haven't really sold this season, bar like Varane was leaving. He just didn't sign an extension. We never offered him an extension. Other than that, I really can't think of anybody like that who just left the club and can quote unquote call us a selling club. Because if I say selling club, that's someone like us selling players for a good amount of money too. We don't sell players for a good amount of money. We never do, to be honest. So I wouldn't necessarily say they're turning into a selling club, but also I think it's too early to judge that. It's only been like one season until Ineos has really been here, and we're just in January right now too, and the rest of January is still left as well. So
trying to get people out the door, I think.
Yeah, I think
that's really it.
When you think selling club, I just think that's not reserved for a club like us.
Yeah,
because when you look at what they're trying to do, it's really just they're trying to honestly get the biggest wages off the books.
Yeah,
that's 100%. What it looks like to me. When you look at who they sold, like Sancho, right? Sancho is making a pretty big sum of money. And they
kind of let him go for chump change too.
They just let him go. Yeah, they just let him go. Right?
They just let him go.
Same thing I'm looking at with Casemiro,
Rashford.
You look at who the targets are. It's all the guys who are making the most money at the club. So that's what I think they're involved with. And but here's the thing. Even big clubs sell players.
Yeah.
And they sell a lot of players. But what happens is they invest in better players. Yeah. That's the difference between a selling club and a big club. A selling club will just keep the profits. Hopefully they strike again in their academy or by buying somebody who's a project and getting money again. Like that, I don't necessarily see us fitting that profile.
Yeah. And also, like, to that comment, where we'll never be a club like Brighton and Southampton just because of those clubs don't have pressure to succeed and get results all the time. That's why they're more comfortable in their sales, whereas us, like, it affects us a lot. We're definitely like a results. Everything is results based for a club like us. The pressure.
Perfect example is Brighton.
Yeah,
like they're a selling club. They will sell clubs for massive. They'll buy players for small amounts, sell them for massive, but they won't actually go after. They won't actually go after and sign another big massive player. They'll still sign smaller.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's like they don't. It's not like with this whole Caicedo thing too. I don't think they immediately invested all that money right away. I don't even think they probably bought a player of over 50 million with that money. They got over 100 mil for Caicedo, and they probably made small changes here and there, or they're keeping that money to invest later into different things. So that's how I look at it. Is that there's not a lot of pressure on those type of clubs to succeed. That's why. When there were conversations of De Zerbi to United and stuff like that too, I always said this is like, it's different for like De Zerbi, the way that he played and stuff like that. Cool, I get it, but the pressure is different at United, and it's like there's a lot of decisions that he could have made or he made at Brighton because there was no pressure, and it's a completely different ball game. We've seen it with so many different managers, not just at United, but at different clubs too. Great example, Graham Potter. Look at the things that he was doing with Brighton. And all of a sudden, when you go to Chelsea and when the pressure is more, things get tough. And then look how that whole situation turned out to be. So that's really it, is that I don't think we should model ourselves like other clubs like Brighton and Southampton, because we're not them. And we're never really going to be them either. We're a cash machine in the first place.
Earn too much money.
And we generate too much money. We earn too much money. And yeah, it's just the pressure is too much to succeed at Manchester United. So that's really it. But that doesn't deny the fact that we are a terrible club in terms of financial, like selling and buying players. We've been that. Like some of the problems that we have is because of that. Currently, we've been.
That's why I'm not too mad at the Garnacho situation. If you want 70, shit, cool. Reach for the stars, follow the moon, as they say, right? Push it as much as you can. In any negotiation, people. Newsflash: throw out the biggest number you can get away with. And work down. Your way down.
Work your way down, Meet halfway.
Exactly.
Meet halfway. Don't just be throwing out no low budget type shit, because then they're going to say, oh, maybe we can go a little bit lower than what he's asking.
Facts. Yeah.
That's
you
how
kind of just want to know like what their valuation of that player is too. So, and I think they're the ones who valued him first at 40 or 50, which is crazy. I don't even think we went up to them and told them that. They came to us, told us that they're willing to pay around 40 or 50 for Garnacho. So, yeah. We'll see when it comes to that. Big up to Stephanie G every single time she says big up Sheiks, Booty.
Big up Steph.
And Shout out Steph.
Yeah, shout out to FNG every single time. But cool, people. We will close out. However, we'll do a little bit of a preview for the Brighton game. Oh, shout out to CP. He says, sorry, just came here to say big up to Sheik and my Laker brother Eddie. Also, Spoopy is a fraud. Remember to like the stream because Sheik and Eddie had to deal with Spoopy for the past hour this stream.
That's crazy.
Hey,
That's crazy, man.
Hey,
and you know
CP.
what's crazy? You might have to deal with Alejandro Garnacho.
Yeah,
So,
CP.
hey.
I said earlier, CP, you're Garnacho's new defense lawyer. Okay, you better be ready. Okay,
This
You
is what
better
we're
be
here
on-
for. This
Yeah.
is what we're here for.
That's a very good point too, Stephanie G. Liverpool sold Coutinho and Thright after they won a Champions League after that. They won a league.
I've
after
always said that just insert Bruno.
that.
That would be like I'm telling like people like if we did that, that's our Coutinho moment. I swear
How
to
much do you
God.
think we could sell Bruno for? I think we could sell Bruno for a lot. I think
80.
top clubs would. Yeah, I think they could pay 70 to 80 for Bruno.
What's the
Still
lowest you
30.
would go? 60?
60. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely
60.
60.
60 is the lowest. I ain't answering calls below 60. Simple as that. But again, yeah, that's a great example, to be honest, Stephanie G. But look at the difference that made. But to be honest, they got a lot of money for Coutinho. I think it was like 120 that when he went to Barcelona at that time, and then they obviously used that to reinvest too. So I mean, look at what it turned out to be: Champions League, this and that. I think did they buy Van Dijk with that money, or he was already at the club? I actually don't know. I don't remember, but yeah, maybe they used that money for Van Dijk. Yeah. So, and Coutinho was a baller too. Like if there was one Liverpool player that I liked at that time, it was definitely Coutinho. But yeah, Coutinho was a player. But cool. We'll be closing out soon. We'll just do a little bit of a preview for the Brighton game. So what are we saying for this game, people? What lineup would we want for this game? We'll start off with you, Spoops. What lineup would you play for this game?
You know what it is when like we're talking about lineups and stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know how much different we can get. I just I don't know how much. Like he's playing Ahmed as a wing back.
So we'll start off there. Do you play Ahmed as a wing back again?
No.
Or do you play him as a 10?
I think a player like Ahmed, you don't start on wing back. I try. Is Dallo? He's not back. No,
He is.
He's back now.
It was a one match, man.
Yeah,
one match. So Dallo's back. So you play Dallo wing back. You play Mazraoui wing back. And you have to have Ahmad up front. You can't have him wing back. Don't, please. I'm not looking for like an 80-minute, like 12-minute hat trick to save our fucking team. I don't want to see that. So yeah, Dallo, Mazraoui at the wing backs. Listen, Maguire. I want to see Maguire against Brighton. Listen, Maguire's not. He gets so much shit. But you put him at that centre back in the back three, he looks great in my opinion.
Yeah,
he does. I can't even lie. He does. He honestly does.
There's obviously the limitations that he has is his speed and how quick he gets. But in terms of being in the right place at the time, especially when balls are crossed in, he's always there, always somewhere or defending someone. Sorry, go ahead, Sheik. You want to say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say like Euro for sure. I think he gets dropped after yesterday, so I think that definitely does push Maguire to start. I don't think he starts again, to be honest.
Yeah,
especially against a team like Brighton too, as well. So
you have to protect
I hear you.
Young players like Euro.
Maguire slowly killing my hatred for him. I can't lie, I'm only human. Nah, I hear you,
listen,
bro.
See,
we
like,
are in the same boat, man.
Exactly. The thing with us is like, and I think I could speak for everyone here, is that we don't just blindly hate people like that. Let me tell you all one thing is that we don't just like blindly criticize people. And I'll give an example for Bruno. Bruno actually played well in our last 2 games, and we praised him for that. And we all hate Bruno. Like, trust me, if it came to us to sell Bruno right now, we will all say yes. But with the Maguire thing too, again, I praise him for sure because of the performances that he's been having. But then I also praise someone like Ruben Amorim for identifying him to be a type of player that could work instead of just picking who the fans would want or someone who like is a fan favorite or a good name and stuff like that, right? Like everything would suggest that Euro should start over Maguire. But then if you really look at the performances, especially after yesterday, why shouldn't Maguire warrant to start? Because I could argue that he should. So it's one of those things where like trust me, Maguire needs to be moved on. He's also a player that needs to be moved on. But for the time being, if he's cutting it in the system, he's cutting it, and that's really just what. If he's playing and we're getting the right results, I have no complaints because ultimately that's what I want for this club, and I think that's what all of us want for this club. It's just for us to be successful, whether it's even for the likes of like Ahmad, even though like he had all these games right now. If Ahmad wasn't this player, we'd kind of just be like, okay, Ahmad, you don't need to start. Let's start somebody else. Give somebody else a chance because ultimately we want just the good for this club. But don't quote me on that. I love Ahmad Diallo. Don't quote me on that. But cool. Michelle says Onana, Mazraoui, Delict, Maguire, Martinez, Dallo, Casemiro, Garte, Ahmad, Rasmus, Bruno. Oh, this is your lineup. Nah, see, I ain't gonna start Rasmus against Brighton.
No, Rasmus can't start.
Rasmus can't start. Yeah.
Does that mean Bruno's on the left 10?
I don't even want that.
Go on, Eddie.
I don't even want that.
What's your lineup for the game? And then we'll go to you.
I would probably go the back three of Martinez, DeLitt, Maguire.
Okay.
At the wing backs, I'll probably have to go Dalot and Mazraoui.
Yeah.
Bruno, Ugarte, and then it won't happen, but I'm going Mainu, Ahmad, Xerxes as my front three.
I'll go with
you guys are sold on the Mainu as a 10. Is that you guys?
Yeah, because it's not that I'm sold on it, it's that I've seen enough of everything else.
Yeah.
That's primarily where it comes from.
I've seen moments of him in the 10 and he looks good, bro. To be honest. He's very
good. And I've
seen
you see him in front of goal, and I like his composure. And in the midfield is where my anxiety goes up because of him just, turning and doing all the shit that he does. But if you put that more centrally up to the pitch, like I'm to the goal, I'm not too scared about that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it comes from.
And yeah, in terms of me, I would go with the same lineup that Eddie said. Spot on. The same exact lineup. Xerxes needs to start. Play Ahmad back in that 10 role. Dallow's back. Play them both as the fullbacks and start Maguire instead of Euro. That's what I would definitely say. I could even say, actually, no, I wouldn't say start Collier. Keep it as Bruno and Ugarte in the 8.
I'd drop Ugarte, and I'd play Casemiro, and I'd play Garnacho left wing. Or left 10.
Left 10.
If you want, yeah. The reason being is I've seen Garnacho against Brighton and he gets success, but we have to put on a show. Come on, let him get an assist. Let him get him a little shit assist, and then
I hear you. Get that market value up.
Okay, I get you. Yeah, I got you. Get that value up for sure. Okay. What are we saying for score predictions for this game?
No, we're talking
2-1 us.
2-1 us.
Yeah, I think they're gonna start coming back down to earth, Brighton, and I think the manager will actually set us up well.
Yeah.
Now that's just hopeful thinking, because literally everything but his lineups has been on point. So yeah, I'll go 2-1.
I hear you. I'd say the same 2-1, and I just know it's gonna be a very difficult game. Very, very, very difficult game. But
for me,
2-1. Yeah, go on. Swoops.
For me, 2-2. I think
2-2.
Brighton will score first. In my opinion,
the rest of the game.
Yeah, and we'll chase it. While chasing it, we'll score one. We'll concede one, and then we'll score the final goal. Is what I think will happen.
Okay. Fair enough. Stephen G says if Kabi had Collier's energy, we have a real talent. Hopefully he can build that stamina. Yeah, that's another conversation that's been going around. Kabi Mainu is his athleticism. He looks sometimes slow off the ball, and slow like just running around and stuff like that too. That's actually the thought that I had for him yesterday. When I say he was all over the place in terms of that, like
that is one thing you can't get at Mainu for. I think.
Yeah, that's definitely
his physicality. Sometimes is just a wee bit.
Yeah. So then again, it's like if we can sit here and see that his physicality isn't the best, keep him high up the pitch. You utilize his strengths there, and that's why I keep arguing with play him as a 10. So, but it's cool. I think we'll see. We'll see what lineup he goes with. Because to be honest, like it's been tough predicting Ruben Amorim lineups, like as of late too, because he changes quite a lot. So, we'll see. We'll see. Lucian says I'd go with Onana, Delict, Maguire, Mazraoui, Malacia. Okay. He also says Ahmad, Ugarte, Bruno, Mano, Anthony, Xerxes. Okay, so a little different lineup.
Malacia is there too.
But I hear it. I hear it.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it,
You mentioned
put Anthony instead of Manu.
Yeah, I knew you were
Put
gonna say
Anthony instead of Manu. Now we got something.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Anthony, like that chance is tough. It's tough to defend him after that chance. He's got to score. I think that chance is worse. Than
hey, you denied my boy. The boy were trying to sell a fucking assist.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I think that chance was worse than the Garnacho chance that he had in the first.
It definitely was.
He will have to score there, bro. But again, it's more so options. Try different options. Try Anthony at a wing back. Try Garnacho at a wing back. Try because you can. There's still different options in terms of this team. Lucian says I can explain that chance. Explain it, Lucian. What happens? What happens, bro? 3-2 to Man United. Ahmad and Xerxes brace. Well, it'd have to. Brace. Okay. For 3 points, we need 3 goals again. United edge it 3-2. Everyone's saying 3-2. Okay. Big up to Soccer Junkie. I think it's my first time seeing you here, so big up to you every single time. He says 3-1 United. 3-1 United, Xerxes to score. Okay, so everyone's saying Xerxes is definitely going to score. Cool. But yeah, I'm going with 2-1. Definitely going with 2-1. Spoobs, you said 2-2, right?
2-2, yep.
2-2. Cool. But cool, people. We will be closing out. Appreciate Eddie and Spooby every single time for joining us on the show. For this Stretford Chronicles episode number 3. We'll be back on Sunday. Obviously, watch along settings. That game's at 6 a.m., Eddie. It's going to be an early one.
But I'll be there.
Wake up. Yeah, I'll be there. And hopefully Eddie will be there too, along with Flawless and Spoobs and YG and everyone. So definitely check that out on the playback. After that, I always do a match reaction. You guys can always show up for the match reaction then too. And yeah, we'll be live immediately after the game for the match reaction. And then Monday, we're back for Mud Brothers. We're still trying to figure out the time. But Monday, we should be back for Mud Brothers as well. And then, yeah, rest of the streams, we'll have this episode number 4 next Friday too. We'll have new guests then. So I'm trying to call some people on. So we'll see if we can get them on. But yeah, we'll see. That's in terms of all the content coming up next week. But big up to everyone. Thank you guys for also showing all the support so far. Subscribing, liking the video, all that type of stuff. And also supporting everybody else that we shout out as well. So make sure you guys obviously check out Spooby's channel. It's always in the description. Subscribe to him if you haven't already. Definitely check out the rest of the Mud Brothers too. Great content. Check out Prime. He posts amazing clips. He actually made one about, I know you've seen it, Spoops, the one about M. De Niro and Tony, the North London Derby stuff. So check out his Twitter. Check out his TikTok. He posts all that type of stuff there. Let me get to your comment real quick, Lucian. Basically, Garnacho is shit. So Anthony is thinking Garnacho will never
put it on a plate.
Put it on a plate.
So he slid anticipating he'll overhit it.
Okay, fairs. You know what? I kind of see that.
Hey,
for
listen.
me though, it was like I didn't think he needed to slide. I think if you just
he didn't.
I think.
Hey, Lucian, are you Anthony's defense lawyer? That's it. Hey, Lucian, let's go.
Defense. That's Lucian. Fair enough, man. Anthony Defense League. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, cool people. Big up to everyone. Thank you guys for all tuning in. This stream will take you to Steve's channel. Is he still live? Let me actually see if he's still live. 1 second. He's doing a watch along for Montpellier versus someone, I think.
Monaco, is it?
Is it? Yes, he is currently live. So we will send you over to Steve's channel. What can we write for him in the chat? Just write Sheik Raid. It's cool. Yeah, just write Sheik Raid.
Hey, Sheik, before you do that, Sheik, big up to you as well for having us on, me and Eddie. And also,
bro, of course.
UFC this weekend.
Oh, people. Yes. How could I forget?
Yeah.
UFC tomorrow. We've got a massive card.
Huge card.
Tomorrow's card is going to be insane. It's Islam versus Arman. I think Mirab versus Omar Nurmagomedov. Kevin Holland, that we love. He's also on that card too. I think he's like the first fight. So we're gonna see it. We're gonna see him get his ass beat, of course. But yeah, like UFC watch along tomorrow.
Is this Yuri?
Yuri's fighting as well. Yuri Berhavka, he's fighting in it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think he is. I'll tell you the card right now. 1 second. I'll tell you the card right now.
Eddie, we need to see you there, bro. We need to see
I'll be there.
Yeah, so Yuri's fighting Jamal.
I think, right? I think it's in California.
It is. So it's normal 7 p.m. for us, Eddie, and then 3 a.m. for you. 3 a.m. UK for the people in Europe and stuff like that. 3 a.m. UK. Okay. 7 p.m. local time for us, PST. But yeah, we'll be there. It'll be live on the playback. Spooby is going to be running majority of it. I will be there myself though, and I'll be on the stage and everything like that. I just won't have my camera on because I have other stuff to do. But Spooby will be running it, and yeah, man, just show up. Lucian, yeah, I love that, bro. If you guys are UFC fans, show up because we do watch alongs all the time for this type of stuff, and it's going to be a great card. And yeah, you guys already know how the playback is. We just sit there and we relax. It's really just like it's like barbershop talk. You're just literally sitting there and
enjoy the show, lads.
Just enjoying the show, man. Just enjoying the show. Chic, 4 a.m. Fairs. If you don't make it, I understand, Casper, because you support all the time anyways. But yes, UFC. What is this? UFC 311 tomorrow at 3 a.m. UK time on the Sarcasm City TV playback. So definitely check it out. All of us will be there. And yeah, Spooby's going to run it, and it's going to be exciting. So I'll tell you the card real quick. Eddie Islam versus... Wait, did the fight get canceled?
Oh, no. I think it might have.
It did. No.
That's a fucking cop.
Which fight?
The main event. I just looked it up. It's now Islam versus Renato Moicano instead of Arman. I think Arman picked up an injury.
Renato's crazy for taking the fight, but I understand.
That's crazy.
You got a bag for it.
But that doesn't even matter. This card's so good. The main one doesn't
regardless of it. Like even the co-main event is really good. Omar Nurmagomedov, he's 18-0 right now, currently undefeated. And
him versus Merab is gonna be
Merab. It's for the title.
It's gonna be some shit.
Exactly. And then Yuri versus Jamal Hill. Sergey Spivak versus Alameda. Kevin Holland versus De Ritter. And I think that's the main card. Yeah. So
there's Arman out of UFC 311 with back injury.
Crazy. But yeah. Anyways, people, that one's in that one's actually in Inglewood. It's at the Clippers Arena. Fairs.
Okay.
So they're doing that in LA. Cool. Cool. But yeah, people, that's pretty much it for today's episode of Stretford Chronicles, episode number 3. Big up to everyone. Obviously, 18-0. He moving like flawless at Fight Night for real, bro. For real. But yeah. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Appreciate Eddie and Spooby every single time for joining us too. And appreciate you guys in the chat. We will catch you guys next week on Friday for episode number 4 of Stretford Chronicles. And we'll have the rest of the shows throughout the week as well. But don't forget to check out the UFC tomorrow. It also will be simulcasted on Cheek TV as well. So big up. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Friday, people.